Hello, class. Today we're going to talk about the March on Washington and Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech and its importance in the civil rights movement. At the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom, more than 200,000 people gathered at the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. These people wanted to address the conditions that African Americans were facing, and they sought meaningful civil rights laws, full and fair employment, decent housing, the right to vote, and integrated education. During this event, Martin Luther King delivered his I Had a Dream speech. A man named A. Philip Randolph is the one who came up with the idea for the March on Washington, when he proposed it twice back in the 1940s. Randolph was a labor organizer and founder of the Brotherhood of Sleeping Car Porters and the Negro American Labor Council. He envisioned a large-scale protest in the Capitol to protest segregation and discrimination in the U.S. military and U.S. defense industry, to pressure the White House into taking action. Randolph's threats were successful as Roosevelt signed Executive Order 8802, the prohibition of discrimination in the defense industry, in 1941, and President Truman signed Executive Order 9981, the desegregation of the armed forces, in 1948. And once both presidents signed the orders, Randolph called off both marches. The march was organized with the help of many civil rights groups and leaders. One man named Bayard Rustin spent a lot of time putting together a staff of 200 people to help run the event. These organizers publicized the event, recruited marchers, organized churches to raise money, coordinated buses and trains, and sorted out all other logistical details. The event was planned and put together in less than 3 months. The march consisted of not just Martin Luther King's speech, but many others, as well as performances, one being from folk singer Bob Dylan. The dedication of the marches and the peacefulness of the protest is what made it such a huge success.
Martin Luther King's famous I Have a Dream speech occurred directly after the March on Washington. In his legendary speech, King was very careful in choosing his words. He repeated several key phrases, including I have a dream, that his speech eventually came to be named after. He also repeatedly uses the phrase, let freedom ring. The purpose of using these phrases over and over is to leave an impact and re-emphasize what is important. King has a dream of what the future of America can and should look like. Freedom is a key part of the outcome he wants to achieve. Let freedom ring serves as an inspiration and a clear picture of what the future should hold. King also repeatedly uses the words we, us, and you to create a sense of unity and unify the country and its people to achieve a common goal. Martin Luther King also consistently references outside historic and literary sources. These serve to give him credibility and purpose. At the beginning of his second paragraph, King starts 50 years ago, which is a reference to Lincoln's Gettysburg Address that began 47 years ago. This was especially moving because King gave this speech in front of the Lincoln Memorial. He also heavily referenced the United States Declaration of Independence directly, saying life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Giving his thoughts a moral basis, King also alluded to the Bible several times. One of the other important aspects of Martin Luther King's speech was using specific examples but keeping them generic enough to feel inclusive to everybody. He specifically mentions several states but repeatedly references Mississippi because it would evoke strong emotions from many people. He also used phrases that were very inclusive, such as slums and ghettos of our northern cities, the South, and from every mountainside. Not only was the content of King's speech incredible, but the style and format was also very well done and well planned. He delivered his speech with amazing ease and confidence. The format also added a great deal to the impact of his speech. He first talked about the problem in America right now. He painted a clear picture about what was happening at the time and what was wrong. He then moved on to what the future should look like. He said, we can never be satisfied, then proceeded to set some clear goals to achieve moving forward. The second half of the speech paints the dream of a better, fairer future of racial harmony and integration. Both the March on Washington and Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech were crucial steps in the civil rights movement that required incredible planning and proper execution.
Now, as a class, we will watch Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech.